Tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Talk on a very special Monday night. That's right, we're recording this Monday night. As you hear this, Omar joins me. I am in the studio. He is at his home. We talk all that is Week 17 in the NFL. A lot happened. We start with headlines. We start with the must-watches of the week, the must-misses, predictions, playoff picture. A really interesting response I got from Omar when it comes to legal ramifications, and a new challenge as well. So check it out. The season is heating up. Before all that, if you're new to the channel, go to my YouTube channel if you haven't before. Check out my other videos. There is clips of me doing stand-up on there. There is previous episodes of the Sunday Night Talk. And not to mention, there's previous episodes of Running It Back, my interview show, as well on there. It's all there. And I have another one of those coming up as well. It's all there. But today, the NFL, a lot happened. A week that I didn't think a lot would, and yet there was a ton of headlines. There was a ton of craziness. There was playoff pictures shaping up. And most importantly of all, my Raiders will not die. They're still alive. I'm still alive. That's what's great about this. Couple arguments from Omar. A very surprising answer when it comes to legal questions. You're going to see Omar in true form today. I think you're going to like it. So here it is, the Sunday Night Talk for Week 17 in the NFL. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, it is Monday night. The Sunday Night Talk is here. We're doing this Monday night. It is 8:56 West Coast time. We just wrapped up Monday Night Football. Surprisingly interesting watch. I didn't think it was going to be good. Omar over there in the man cave. He's just back in town too. He hauls ass to do this show, and I appreciate it. Me over here in the LA studio. Quite the Week 17. We still have one more week to go in the NFL, but a lot of stuff happened, it seems. Monday night, I was joking around. I was like, oh, we got Meaningless Monday happening. And then I find out Pittsburgh is still in the playoff race.
Right. But let's get it out of the way. That was just it's such a sad way to end the Monday Night Football season. Don't you think? Yeah. I remember as a kid, there were some great, Marino versus Montana. There was Elway, Montana one year. There was Jim Kelly versus Marino. I mean, there was just some great matchups. But this Browns team, they're not bad. They just have a really bad quarterback.
Yeah, and they are definitely in the list of biggest disappointments of the season. Throw in Baltimore in there as well. So this was like the only reason to watch this game was because it was Big Ben's last game at Heinz potentially, which was kind of emotional. He's crying during the national anthem. He's crying at the end of it. I thought it was in a way a cool send-off for him. And then kudos to Monday Night Football, and NBC did this last night also with a dud of a game, really hyping it up that this was the story. Big Ben's last game and old shots of him and his draft when he gets called up to stage. And, he's been with the team his whole career. That's something rare. That's something cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fun watch, and that was cool. The fans love him. So that was the biggest part of that game, even though I was calling it a meaningless Monday game. But kudos to ESPN for making it worth watching. Whereas the day before, Sunday night, Minnesota, Kirk Cousinsless versus Green Bay, who's already wrapped up the division. Give it to NBC for hyping up the weather. The backup QB in Minnesota, and then that was about it. I think Chris Collinsworth, I don't know if you watched it or not, but at one point Chris Collinsworth or Minnesota puts in their third string quarterback, some guy named Hud or something.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
And God bless him, Chris Collinsworth goes, I'm a little excited to see him get some time. Like, no, you're not. You don't know who this is.
Right.
Hey, let's have him throw a few balls out there. I'm just so excited to see the young man get some time. Yeah. And I got to give it to Al Michaels, who made the best call of the year by skipping this game.
Yeah, I agree. Agree
Yeah.
100%. But
Yeah,
eh,
January, Lambeau Field. We'll see you next week, guys. I'm not doing this game. I'm Al
well, how
Michaels.
about this? But your Raiders have a primetime game next week.
We will, yes, indeed, get
That's
to that.
huge.
That is huge. Well, like I said, we have so much to get to. So let's start with headlines this week. Number one, John Madden passes away, which was in a way strange timing because we had the All Madden documentary come out. And I don't know if you watched it or not, but while I'm watching it, everybody I'm watching it with asked the question, did John Madden die? And I had to ask too. I was like, no, I think he's still alive. And then he's interviewed. You see him on screen. You're like, oh no, he is still alive. And then he
Right.
passes away a few days after that. And I was thinking about John Madden because we know John Madden as the coach from the 70s. Then we know John Madden as the broadcaster. Then we know John Madden as the football game. So three facets of his career. And I'm trying to compare him to somebody these days. And I don't think there's any comparison. I think he's a
No.
true one of one.
Oh, absolutely, and it's so true because if you go back, if you're really old school before our time of liking football, he was coaching those great Raider teams. That yeah, they only won one Super Bowl back in during that period of time, but those were some tough teams. They were always in the mix, right? I mean, it was hard to get over Pittsburgh, but they were always there. They would beat up on the Dolphins, they'd beat up on the Steelers, and they beat up on the Jets. So they were always in the thick of things. And John Madden just had the way he communicated with those guys. He was coaching Stabler, and you're a Raiders fan, and the legends of Kenny Stabler and the team. Those defensive characters. Hendricks and all those guys. It was tough to probably coach those guys. Those personalities. And then he becomes a broadcaster, and really just wrote the blueprint on how to be a successful broadcaster.
Yeah, he really did. He was just good at it from the start. Just a natural broadcaster, a natural communicator. And like you think of like the traditional, it's the broadcaster guy, the Al Michaels, the like professional broadcaster, and then the color guy adds a little flavor to the game. And it's that defined. However, when he teamed up with Pat Summerall, he was like added color, but he was so knowledgeable, but it didn't seem forced.
Right.
Like when Joe Buck makes a joke or Al Michaels makes a joke or something, it doesn't seem natural to me. It seems almost smug. It seems like look at this funny joke I made. And with John Madden, it seemed like whether the mics were on or not, that's how he was. He wasn't pining to the camera. He wasn't pining to the crowd. He wasn't trying to be overly knowledgeable, overly funny. He was just being John Madden. And for some reason, it went across to everybody, young and old.
Something that stuck about me was when he would find some obscure, backup right guard for some team, and he would know a story about this guy, where he came from, who coached him up, how he was somehow cross paths with the Hall of Famer, and it was just this great, and the way he would tell that story, it was that I will say that not many celebrities have hit me as far as their passing. This one kind of hit me, and I won't admit it because he's why I probably got interested in football. He made the game fun for me as a kid to listen to, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that. And then of course, John Madden football on the video game he
Yeah,
scored.
the video
So
game, which probably so many people only know him as, like young
right,
people.
like my
Probably
son. My son is a huge Madden fan, but he just knows Madden as the guy from the video games.
Yeah, yeah. He was almost as if like you have that uncle who you only see him a couple times a year, but every time you see him, it's the greatest time ever. You sit on his lap, he tells you funny stories, he plays with you. That seems how John Madden might have been. And I was rewatching some Madden games. I was like, oh, let me rewatch it. And I was thinking, in the 90s when we watched the most football, this was the Cowboys' heyday. The Cowboys were on Fox. John Madden was the Fox announcer. So
Yep.
we heard a lot of John Madden in our youth. So he was very much the narrator to our early football. So I rewatch a John Madden game, and I rewatched Cowboys at Giants, 1993, the game where Emmitt Smith separates his shoulder and he plays through the second half. So I rewatched that game,
Wow.
and John Madden's calling the game, and Emmitt Smith comes out of the locker room, and John Madden says, he doesn't look right. Like he's holding his shoulder, his helmet's half on. But you know what's giving it away to me, Pat? Look at his belt. His belt isn't buckled. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Just this funny observation
Right.
that you looked at and you're like, oh, yeah, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And it was just such a joy to listen to him comment, to narrate a game in real time, and in just the teaming with Pat Summerall, who, rewatching that game, he gives a lot of funny stuff too. He was the perfect foil to John Madden, adding his little quips on top of John Madden's jokes and observations. Like you watch Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, and they're pretty good, but Joe Buck can rub a lot of people the wrong way. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth are pretty good, but I get the feeling Al Michaels is telling nervous jokes a lot of times too. So I don't know if there's anybody you can directly compare to John Madden these days, even though they're all essentially doing a John Madden impression. They're all trying to be observational, funny, add humor. I think the closest is Tony Romo gets to me a little bit that way because he's generally excited about the game. But I think he's a one of one. I don't think we see anything like that. I think people need to find a new road because there's nothing like that guy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but God rest his soul, and what he did for football, no one else is ever going to compare to John Madden ever again.
Yeah,
So,
I'm gonna rewatch the documentary too. It was that good. I saw bits and pieces of it over the holiday, and I was like, I need to rewatch this, in my house by myself and soak it all in, because it was truly interesting how we decided to take a bus, the very first bus he ever took, and what he was interested in the game, and the footage, the behind the scenes footage was awesome. Where at one point he's trying to teach Melissa Stark how to run a route. And we're like, where are you going to see that footage? It's so funny. And she's running a route in heels and stuff, and he's kind of cheering her on. So funny. So what a timely documentary for it to come out. So John Madden, coach, broadcaster, and video game pioneer. We all played Madden at some point. So what a time. What a time. Next headline, the playoff picture, setting up. I always think, okay, first week of the season, it's a great time for season. October, best time of the year. Even preseason, you get excited for the game. What about last week of the regular season in football? Is that the best week in football? It seems like there's a lot to play for. There's still spoilers that can happen.
there are, and I'm upset because my 49ers may be on the outside looking in, because if the Saints win and we lose to the Rams, and the Rams are a great team at home, we're out. You
Right.
know, so I can't even count on a 49ers win. I'm depending on Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan to get me to the playoffs.
That scares me. That's so scary. Matt Ryan. Oh my God. Put him in the category of biggest fall from grace. I don't know what's going on with Matt Ryan. It would have been earlier in the year, we would have buried him with Wentz.
Right.
And now it seems Wentz found fire, and now Matt Ryan is just solely owning the bottom of the barrel QBs along with the rookie QBs, but they're rookies.
Yeah.
So playoff picture setting up. We've got scenarios aplenty going into week 18. My team has the Sunday night game now. So much riding on the line here. Playoff seeding. We're going to have a Monday night playoff game now. Where do you stand on the Monday night game? I feel like it's cool, but they didn't fully think of it, because whoever plays that Monday night, whoever wins, now has a short week for the next playoff game.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one. But that's just the way the TV setup is.
Do you think the NFL should schedule the biggest game on that Monday night, keep it on Sunday? Because traditionally the bad games are Saturday. That early wild card Saturday game is always a skippable game.
Right. No. What's interesting though, but I think this is the first year that they're doing Saturday games on the weekend finale, aren't they?
Yeah, we have two Saturday games this week.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
Because people, that means is if those teams make it, they have an extra day to prepare for their playoff game.
Mm-hmm. I always think the Saturday teams are at the most disadvantaged because like there'll be a game, it'll be a close Saturday game, and there'll be a mistake or there'll be a situation. I always think the Sunday teams are watching that and be like, okay, great. If that happens to us, this is what we do. Okay, don't freak out if we go down 14. I think they're always an advantage to watch those early guys go first. But the Monday game, the Monday night game, sounds interesting. I could see teams not knowing how to handle it quite so well.
Yeah.
Last headline, of course, you knew we were getting to this. The Antonio Brown walk-off.
Oh, man.
So awesome. This season will not stop giving us fun things to talk about.
I will say, it's getting the story, don't get me wrong, you never want to walk out on your team at halftime. Or at the midway point ever. You don't want to walk out on your team mid-game.
When is the best time to walk out on your team?
Not during those 60 minutes of football. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. But as the story, as we're finding out a little more and more, maybe it's not everything. If Antonio Brown is saying I can't play because of my ankle, all right, like I feel that it's hurt. And we know that he has every incentive to play when he's 8 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown short of $1 million. Okay, $1 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just, and if he's saying, look, I'm not feeling it, and a coach gets upset, I wouldn't be surprised if the players union takes an extra look at, an extra hard look at this and say, hey, well, what exactly happened here? You know what I mean? And then now, and in a way, Bruce Arians has flip-flopped. He said that, his ankle, yesterday he said his ankle was bothering him, and then today he said, no one told me about his ankle. So there's something going on, and I think we have to wait. And look, if there's a player right now in the NFL, when you hear stories about Antonio Brown farting in his doctor's face during a checkup, when we hear stories about him assaulting a moving guy.
I didn't even hear the farting in the face one. That's pretty good.
He was farting, and it's on that. There's tape of that. I mean,
he could have went to our high school and fit in just fine.
Yeah, and just being a jerk like that. There's two sides to every story, and God knows he hasn't done. He's done his fair share to get people to be against him. Fair to say. But I think on this one, we may want to look before we jump the gun. Again, you never want to walk out on your team during the game, but who knows what really happened on the sideline there. That's
what? I like how your defense attorney hat goes right on when it comes to this stuff. I like how you're just instant going to defense attorney mode and make the argument. It's perfect because I was gonna go like, all right, I'm gonna make the Antonio Brown defense. You beat me to it. You already took the zag when I was going to do the other direction. You know what? I saw that headline too where like he said his ankle was bothering him. He missed practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But then he played and he seemed to be playing normally and they told him, okay, go in. And he said, I can't go in, and he got pissed off. I that's sort of the nuts and bolts that we saw on screen. But what else is going on? There's definitely more there. There's definitely more. And then here's my argument for this is a good thing. The Bucs got the most out of Antonio Brown anybody could have got out of him. Yeah. Not only that did they
100% right. You're 100%.
Yeah, not only that did they squeeze that orange and get as much juice out of as possible. They saved themselves $1 million too. They don't have to pay that money. And the Raiders couldn't get him to play. He gave a quick run in New England. He got him for a few games. And then they got him for a whole year last year, and they got him for almost 2 years this year. So if Tom Brady can't save you, then I say that's it. You gave it a fair shot. Also, the Bucs were losing to the Jets of all teams in this game, and they needed a spark. You know how sometimes in basketball the coach tries to get a flagrant foul to get the team juiced up? Maybe someone said, "Hey, Antonio, you're going to quit anyway. Why don't you go freak out and get the team jacked up?
Go freak out.
Why don't you go have a manic episode and get the team pumped up?" And he was like, "Done and done."
So maybe we need to get your dad on to see like what his diagnosis is of the Antonio Brown mental health situation.
My dad might be the John Madden of psychiatric diagnosis. You know, he goes straight to the guts of it. He has no details. He doesn't hesitate to say when someone is crazy. The Antonio Brown walk-off. That was great. How great was that? He's running in the end zone shirtless. Very Dennis Rodman from the 90s when Rodman was freaking out on sidelines and taking his jersey off and throwing it in the stands.
It was so bad.
It was bad. And you look around, like you watch the footage, and the security guards, the other players are looking at him like, what the hell is this guy doing? This guy, is he dangerous? Is he just going to walk off? What is he doing? Everybody had this look of just, look at this spectacle. What is happening with this guy?
Right.
And I think everybody knows Antonio Brown background at this point.
Oh, that's where he's not going to get a fair shake in the court of public opinion.
Right. Okay? Right. We all know his character, and this seems...
That's where the jury comes in and convicts him.
Yes, that's when defense attorney Omar Carmona's phone rings, and he has to, and Omar mounts a defense for Antonio Brown. I see it happening.
Well,
I see it happening. Athletes need attorneys, Omar.
They do.
You know what you should change to your business card to? You should change it to Omar Cron. And you just come out and you just wipe away everything. You're like, hey, I'll take care of this.
But anyway, so it's definitely something we need to pay attention to, I think.
Yeah, he's not going to be on the team anymore. They got the most out of him. Do you think the Bucs came off as winners or losers this week?
Well, again, that's going to depend on how this story shakes out.
Well, how do you think the team is moving forward? Just say Tuesday morning practice. Do you think the Bucs are like, oh no, we lost a great receiver, or are they saying like good riddance?
If there's any truth to what Antonio Brown's side is saying, that hey, I'm hurt, I told the coach I'm not healthy to go in, and he didn't care, told me to get the hell out. If there's any truth to that, I could see players being like, wow, where's the loyalty? Like that could have been me. You know what I mean? And how would I have responded to that? Because when it's all said and done, they have each other's backs as teammates. I like to believe that. Okay? And so we'll see how that shapes out. And again, but when it comes to Antonio Brown, you gotta believe that any move on Antonio, I really believe, as much as they want to deny it, any move on Antonio Brown, it has to go through Tom Brady. Don't you think? I mean, don't you think that at this point he's carrying all the football? He's carrying all the cards. He's what he says.
So you're saying they asked Brady, should we cut him or not? You say they ask him that blatantly?
I don't know. I'm just saying that that's a lot if you're taking away a huge target. Hey, he had 10 catches last week for 108 yards. Mm-hmm. And he didn't look terrible, even though he had limited snaps. He didn't look bad. I saw a route on that on social media that he just beat a guy.
He had a great route against the Jets guy.
Yeah,
it just didn't indicate he was injured.
And then you get rid of a guy like Antonio Brown, and you don't have Chris Godwin, who's your leading receiver. Okay, Mike Evans is a great talent, but he's got his injury problems too. Gronk at this point in his career isn't always healthy. He's not 100%, and he'll admit that. So I think it's tough to walk away from an Antonio Brown if you're Tom Brady.
Yeah, they definitely have holes on that receiving core. Guys are injured, they lose Antonio Brown, and now they're next man up. Let's see if they can fill the hole. So there's some concerns, you're right. Even if you say like, okay, good riddance, he was a cancer in the locker room or whatever, but now they got to fill up a hole. Now Tom Brady has got a little deficit going. So
But then
that's going to play out.
He throws the game-winning touchdown to an unknown receiver, which is awesome.
That's true too. Maybe a little Brady magic is up his sleeve. Like I will never doubt Brady until he is physically out of the playoffs and in the bus going home.
Right.
All right, those were headlines, but the games. Let's start with the games. I got 2 must-watches this week and 1 London game. We'll go to that one first. New York Jets at the Chicago Bears. Somehow the Chicago Bears won.
Giants.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Jets? Giants at Bears. The Bears won, and somehow Matt Nagy will not die. Is Matt Nagy gonna get on for another season? The Bulls are playing really good right now. So all the headlines are Bulls. So there is a world where the Bears get no headlines, they re-sign Nagy silently, and all of a sudden he's the coach again next year.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
I hope not, but this is weird where he's all of a sudden winning these little garbage time games.
I think that's exactly it. It's garbage, and I think they already have his replacement lined up somewhere. So
Urban Meyer?
No, that's not going to happen.
That will never happen. They're going to offer him a contract at that Hooters bar that he was at.
But let me tell you something. I mean, there's some schools that don't get me wrong. They would sign Urban Meyer in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely. The rumor was that he wanted the USC job.
Right. And I could see, I could see down the road a team like Texas that since Mac Brown has left Texas, they can't seem to find the right coach to get them back to prominence. Oklahoma. I know they got this guy that's coming in for Lincoln Riley, but that's a top-notch program that they want results right away. And teams like Texas and Oklahoma, they're going to the SEC. So that's something to follow.
He's going back to college. I agree with you. He'll be off this next year.
Urban Meyer is not his ego won't let him go out like this.
Right. He's going back to college where he can be the king.
But he will never be a pro coach again because
I agree. He doesn't like the pros.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't respect it.
He doesn't have the control. And I was hearing somebody on some show, the Urban Meyer courting process. The Jaguars wanted him. He played coy for a year. It's like, maybe I'll coach, maybe I won't. They agree to his terms, and he says, okay, give me a week. He still doesn't sign. He still takes a week. So I don't even think he wanted to be there 100%.
Right.
As we find out. So, and then he has the shortest coaching career ever. Did anybody bet Urban Meyer would be the first coach fired this year? I don't think anybody did. We thought he'll do a couple years. We'll see how he does. He even make it a year.
No, he's trash.
Trash. On to the must-watches. I had 2. Arizona at Dallas was a fun game. That was a must-watch. Kyler Murray's back after his month off. And looks really good. Dallas looks good, but they seem to mess up 8 plays a game. And now I'm kind of concerned for Dallas in the playoffs. I don't know if they can beat a good team.
I don't know if Dak Prescott can beat a good team. How about that?
He looks weird. He's running around, which looks good, and then he fumbles it, or he just looks hesitant. I don't know what to think of him.
So Kyler's back, and Kyler shows his potential. He's so great. He's so quick, and he's got such a quick release, too. So he can throw the football. Now, I do see it when he throws. Sometimes it looks like he's falling backwards only because he can't see over the line.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's a strategy.
And he's doing that without DeAndre Hopkins, which is crazy. But he made some good throws. And a quick shout out to Trey Lance. He played a good game being a rookie with limited.
Oh, we'll get to your Trey Lance.
Okay.
We'll get to him.
Okay. But
look at you already jumping ahead to your team. Such a homer.
But that another concern, Trayvon Diggs. He's making such a push, a shameless self-push that he gets his son out tweeting, saying, "Oh, my dad's the defensive player of the year, 10 interceptions." Well, the reason you got 10 interceptions is because they throw you the ball to you like 30 times a game.
Statistically, that's a terrible ratio.
he gets beat a lot. Okay,
he got burned pretty good.
But every game he's getting beat. And the thing is, the reason why Revis and Deion Sanders' interception numbers were so low in their primes were because nobody was crazy enough to throw to that side. You know what I mean? I think of shutdown corners like Deion, Revis, Rod Woodson, Darrell Green. Nobody would throw to them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. They essentially were just out there and they would just take out their best receiver and then they'd play a game around them.
But now they have Trayvon Diggs and like the offensive coordinators on the other teams like, yeah, I don't care. 10 interceptions. You can just fire the ball, fire it away to him. You know?
Just put it up there. Just put it up. What's the worst that can happen? We get pass interference. How bad could it be?
Just throw it long, and if it gets an interception, just treat it like a punt.
Yeah, true. Yeah, exactly. With today's like offense-heavy NFL, yeah, just throw it deep every third play.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if Dallas can run the ball.
They don't look good.
I don't know if they could like say, okay, we're not throwing well. Dak can't put it up 50 times. Okay, let's rely on the running game. I don't know if they can do that. So now I'm getting nervous for Dallas.
That team that took Tom Brady on the brink in the season opener, that doesn't look like the same team that I saw yesterday. You know what I mean? They just don't look the same. And I thought they were a much scarier team at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, their best win, maybe against Washington where they killed them. Everything was clicking. And then their worst loss to Vegas on Thanksgiving night. So we've seen, this is the true Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde teams. They're such high highs and such low lows. So that one's a big question mark. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous for Dallas losing a home playoff game this year. So that was my must watch. And my other must watch, Vegas at Indianapolis. Playoffs are setting up. I'm watching this game. I'm texting you that I don't want to watch the game. I'm texting you like, I don't want to watch this game. I don't want to do this to myself. I watch it anyway. The Raiders are the new John McClane from Die Hard. They no matter what, you can't kill them.
Right.
You think they're dead. They're thrown into a fire. They lose by 80 points to the Chiefs. And they're like, the season's done. They give up. All of a sudden, they string together 3 or 4 wins. And they're still in the driver's seat.
And how about this? They were the first team in this year to allow 100 yards rushing to Jonathan Taylor and win the game.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Indianapolis comes in. They can run the ball. If it wasn't for Carson Wentz going Carson Wentz on a few plays, we lose that game. There was a 3rd and 10 where Wentz has a guy wide open on a wheel route, just flat out misses him. He misses him. There was another play where Wentz throws it over a guy's head like on a 2nd and 10, and the only play Wentz had was the stupid Hail Mary jump ball that somehow got caught for a touchdown. So we got to thank Wentz for blowing that game for us. And then somehow Renfro is just open every play.
Right.
And what I like about Renfro, every catch, no celebration, no nothing. The guy just gets back on the line. Hence my future bet that one day Trevor Lawrence goes to the Raiders and we reunite Renfro and Trevor Lawrence as a power couple in the NFL. He's the best. Every team has to have, I guess, essentially Wes Welker 2.0, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Welker or Edelman was a good example of this. Beasley for the Bills. Renfro. We all got the small white dude in the slot who returns punts and has to be effective. So
he can play.
I'm very optimistic now for next week, but we'll get to that. Other games, Atlanta-Buffalo. I skipped that one. Buffalo is peaking at the right time. Miami-Tennessee. Tennessee won. And I think that guy might get the coach of the year, Vrabel, looking good.
Yeah, he's got a decent argument.
Jacksonville, New England. New England scores 50 points, and there's actual footage of Bill Belichick smiling. I don't know if you saw that. He's making jokes with Mac Jones on the sideline, and they're like buddy.
I mean, they were joking about Bitcoin.
You think Belichick has some investment ideas for Mac Jones? Like, hey, you're a young guy.
He said, I think it was Belichick saying, I have no idea what the hell Bitcoin is.
Tampa Bay, New York Giants. Tampa Bay squeezes it out with Antonio Bryant walking off the field. Philly, Washington, and I wrote in my notes this one: Philly playoffs ? Philly's in this playoff race somehow.
They've clinched.
Right.
So that's insane. And they have the same record as the 49ers, and the 49ers beat them, yet Philly's in already clinched and Niners are out. The tie-breaking rules are just so weird. I know that they're trying to prevent 3-way ties and whatnot. But the big news there was how close Jalen Hurts was from being smashed by that rail.
Oh, that's the greatest video ever, isn't it?
Oh well, thank God he moved at the last instant.
Can you imagine the fallout if that
Oh,
railing
could you imagine?
and
Uh,
he's under it? The pictures, the memes.
they would have. They would have turned Washington. The it would be the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Eagles two B team. I mean, they would have owned Washington. They'd get the naming rights for the next Washington team.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Also, like, could anything worse happen to this Washington organization? They can't even have their own name. Their owner is seemed to be hated by everybody, and now their stadium is falling apart. They can't do anything. Their quarterback seems to throw a million picks every game, and their stadium almost falls on top of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Great video though. This day and age, I'm glad we have so much video of everything. That was good, and then I had the LA Rams squeak one out against Baltimore, and then my notes I wrote Baltimore out ? What the hell happened? What the hell happened to Baltimore this year?
Yeah, it's just losing Lamar Jackson for a few games, it's gonna hurt.
I blame everything on that Lamar Jackson flip into the end zone he did like in week 3. The unnecessary flip into the end zone, and now he's been out for every other game for the last 6 weeks.
Didn't like it. Pat didn't like it.
I didn't like it. Great game, though. KC at Cincinnati.
Great game. Hey, I think we're going to talk about this, but my coach of the year, Zach Taylor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not bad. Not a bad pick. That game was super fun. The Bengals showed a lot of guts.
They came back.
It reminded me of Rocky 3 when Rocky loses the first match to Clubber Lang. But then he has to come back. He has to change his game for the rematch of Clubber Lang. He has to get fast. He has to get speed. And all of a sudden, Cincinnati's going toe-to-toe. Did you watch the last minute of that game where it's tied? The last minute took 25 minutes.
It really did.
Yeah.
It seemed like the afternoon game was about to hit halftime.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like timeouts going on. There's penalties. The Bengals get a new set of downs. It's 4th down, and the Bengals are like, oh, we're going for it. We're not going to give Mahomes any time. We're not going to kick a field goal. We don't want to give him time, which I guess you can make an argument for either argument. So they go for it, and then they get a penalty, fresh set of downs. They still don't get a touchdown, and then they kick the field goal, and then they win the game, and Joe Burrow is injured on the sideline.
Right.
So, yeah, so much stuff happens in the last minute of that game, and Cincinnati, big winner of the Sunday, win the division. Did either of us pick Cincinnati to win the division?
No, we did not.
No, we didn't. We thought they were going to squeak in at best. Afternoon games. All right, let's get to it. Houston at San Francisco. The Trey Lance era has begun. Is he just filling in? What do we think?
He's filling in for this season, but I think in the offseason there's going to be a lot of pressure to either move Jimmy G to another team, maybe get some trade value for him. But Trey Lance is good. He made some errors, but he also made some pretty impressive throws that I don't think Jimmy G can make. He's an athlete. He's a superior athlete compared to Jimmy. So I could see that the Niners they're gonna have some tough decisions to make. I could see the pressure being on to getting Trey Lance his shot.
Yeah, I'm worried. I almost want to make my lock it in prediction now. I'm gonna save it, but it's gonna be Trey Lance wins a playoff game. Is it crazy? Is it possible that Trey Lance wins a playoff game for you guys?
Not this year.
I'm not going to lock it in. Yet, but it's swimming around my head. The rest of the games I just skipped. Denver at Chargers. Chargers won. Carolina at New Orleans. I think New Orleans won. Detroit at Seattle. I didn't even watch it.
Right.
And then the Sunday night one was Minnesota at Green Bay that Al Michaels very, very intelligently skipped. Did you see they go into the crowd and they do a thing where like the 84-year-old lady who's never missed a Packers game is in the crowd and it's 10 degrees?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. This lady looks like she's frozen and she's having a good time and she's just got her hood on and stuff. So Denver, Minnesota at Green Bay, and Chris Collinsworth. Just as long as you take a snap, Chris Collinsworth loves you as a quarterback.
Yeah, for sure.
He loves everybody. Like Collinsworth, I know you're lying to me. All right, I have some questions for you. Question number 1, if the season ended today, here are your division winners. These are the winners. These are already the tried and true winners. They've won the division. Cincinnati, Tennessee, Kansas City in the AFC. New England or Buffalo, depending on who wins next week, wins that division. New England is at Miami. Buffalo plays the Jets. So they're probably going to win both those games. I think Buffalo has the tiebreaker on that one. I'm not sure. But those are all the division winners now. Now we know. There's no more guessing.
There's no more guessing. Right.
No more guessing. In the NFC, Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and in the final spot is Rams and Arizona to see who wins that division. Rams play San Francisco. Arizona plays New Orleans. So the game of the week, Rams, San Francisco. That's going to be the big one.
That's a big one, right? But hey, Niners have beaten the Rams 5 straight times. So clearly Shanahan knows what he's doing against
right, the McVay Rams. So we could have, this might be the fun part about the last week of the season. Both teams got to win. Rams want the division. San Francisco wants to get in the playoffs. This is what week 18 is all about.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, way too early predictions, which are not way too early anymore because we're at the end of the season. Here's mine. Cincinnati makes it to the AFC Championship game this year. They're hot. They got a young QB. Never doubt a team who is on a hot streak. I'm basically giving Cincinnati, in the NCAA tournament when like a Valparaiso gets hot or a Butler gets hot. I'm giving them that tag this year. And they're just riding a wave of momentum. So I am going to predict Cincinnati makes it to the AFC Championship game.
I'm not going to bet against that because, like you said,
you like that pick, huh?
I like that pick because I think they can beat anyone right now. I will say this: I haven't seen an NFL season shape out with more parity, I guess, than this year.
This is a good year for parity. You're right. Lots of stories.
Lots of stories. Bengals just proved they can beat the Chiefs. One-on-one in a street fight. And so. Joe Burrow and again my coach of the year and lock it in. This is my pick. It's Zach Taylor.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm writing it down. Zach Taylor, coach of the year.
Look what he's done. He's taken that Bengals team was terrible. That's why they got the number 1 pick and they use it on Joe Burrow and the way he's developed Burrow. To make them a strong contender in the AFC in such a short amount of time.
Second year for Joe Burrow, coming off injury as well.
Yeah, so this is big.
Can you imagine we're gonna have a lot of like Who Day chants and T-shirts and gear throughout the city? We're gonna have a lot of old time Bengals coming back to cheer on or to like wave the flag. We're gonna have like some Ickey Woods. We're gonna have some Boomer Esiason coming back. Maybe a Sam Weish. Did Sam Weish pass away? I can't remember. But we're going to have a lot of like old Bengals come back to try to give a little extra. All right. Do you want to hear your predictions throughout the year?
Sure. Let's hear them.
Okay. Here are your lock it in predictions. First one was Buffalo beats New England to go to the Super Bowl. Packers beat Dallas to go to the Super Bowl. You predicted that. You predicted Joe Burrow wins a playoff game. Then the next week, you predicted Cincinnati will not make the playoffs. And now you predicted that the Cincinnati coach, Zach Taylor, will win Coach of the Year. So pretty Cincinnati heavy predictions.
Yeah, they have been. But I'm gonna go with them.
Okay. You're sticking with Zach Taylor. You've got everything is still in play, except one of them will cancel out the other of your predictions. But yeah, everything is still in play. Here's mine. I had Arizona and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I have Colt McCoy will start a playoff game.
That ain't happening.
I have Indianapolis will make the playoffs. And then last week I predicted New England versus Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had a lot of I was pretty out there too.
You're but you got some things alive.
Yeah, I'm alive. All right. Your way too early prediction was Zach Taylor. Okay, make me angry. Argument of the week. I have something that I think is going to make you angry, maybe question your sanity. Next week, Trey Lance has a great game against the Rams. And now the 49ers have to choose who to start in the playoff game because Garoppolo is healthy. And they choose Garoppolo over a hot Trey Lance. And I think this will upset you.
That would upset me, but Trey Lance would have to go lights out against the Rams, which means...
Well, I'm saying he goes lights out. I'm saying he plays awesome.
Oh, then yeah, that would make me angry, Pat.
Right. And they're like, okay, well, Garoppolo's healthy. Well, we got to start him. And then he just stinks like Rob Johnson in that Music City Miracle game.
Okay, let me make you angry now.
All right, go ahead. I have a feeling I know where this is going.
After everything they've been through this year, the John Gruden,
been through a lot.
The John Gruden, the Ruggs, another numbnuts picks up a DWI in Vegas yesterday. You got to be a complete idiot. They lose next week's game on a missed field goal.
That'll make me angry. Right, because the best thing about our team is the kicker. Our kicker is awesome. And then that would upset me. I don't know what I'm going to do for the game. I'm obviously going to watch it. I am still believing that there's some way that I affect the game. So I'm thinking like, what should I wear? Where should I sit? How should I watch it? Yeah, that would make me. I have a feeling that no matter how they lose next week, if they lose, I'm going to be upset. I'm going to run the game over in my head over and over again. Somehow the Raiders loss reflects on me personally too. Like if they lose, then I feel like a loser. If they win, then I want to text "fuck you" to like 18 of my friends. So, yeah, that will definitely make me angry. You know what? There should be a new award we got Coach of the Year, Comeback Player, Defensive Player, all that stuff. There should be the most bipolar team award of the year. So that way, what team went through the most adversity this year?
It's got to be the Raiders. There's no doubt.
Right. What other team would it be?
I can't think of a team in the last 20 years. I'm talking regular season adversity.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough.
We had number one. This is the first year we have fans in the stadium. Number two, we lose our coach for bad words. Number three, we lose a wide receiver to first-degree murder. Not good. That very same week, we lose another DB to a crazy Instagram video or something. You know, the crazy thing, these getting busted for Instagram stuff is they record themselves. It's not like someone recorded them and they're like, oh, look at this one I got. They recorded himself.
Yeah.
What else do we have? I think that's all we're at this point. We have Derek Carr's hair is growing like a weed. He looks like Daniel Stern from Home Alone. His hair is just growing out. It's insane. So I think we get the award for most diversity handled. Most hurdles.
It's got to be there.
Most hurdles. Oh, well, you know what we should call that award? The TO award. We should call it the TO award, and goes to the team who had the most hurdles.
Right. Okay. I like it.
Okay. This week we got franchise 1-year deal, send to the practice squad. Okay, this is a simple one for you when it comes to playoffs. Okay, wild card, division round, conference round. Which one gets your franchise 1-year deal or send to the practice squad?
Okay. You give them to me again.
Okay, you got, for the playoffs, essentially you got to rank these 1, 2, 3. Gold, silver, bronze. Wild card round of the playoffs.
Okay.
Divisional round of the playoffs, or conference championship round of the playoffs.
Franchise is the conference championship. This is just such a memorable Sunday. You know, just the teams. You know, watching the teams get their Super Bowl nod. That's pretty cool to watch every year. It's no matter how bad the games are, I'll watch them even if it's a blowout. I'm gonna rank them like that, and give a 1-year deal to the division round because we've seen some pretty great games there, and the wild card. Well, There's been some blowouts. There've been some good wild card games. I could think of the Oilers Bills back in,
Yeah.
that wild comeback, and that was fun to watch. But there's been some good wild card games. But I think when you're talking about teams with home field advantage and stuff like that, that's when it gets real interesting. So I'm gonna rank them like that.
I agree, except I'm flipping your wild card and divisional. I love the wild card round, so I'm like, keep that. Give me the 1-year deal on the wild card round, and in divisional, begrudgingly, I'm sending that to the practice squad. The only cool thing about the divisional one is like all the teams that got buys, now they get to play, so it's their first sighting, and you're like, okay, here come the big dogs. Let's see what they got to say. So, but I'm with you. Conference championship, arguably better week of football than the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. 2 games.
Got 2 games. They're at someone's home field. And also, we're building up to this crescendo. We had the wild card. We have divisional. Now we're conference week after week, and we're getting just hyped up into this frenzy. It almost makes me wish the Super Bowl was the very next week instead of the week off.
And what's going to be interesting is this year, because we had an extra week this year. In years past, the conference championship game is on MLK weekend, so we don't have work Monday.
Oh, finally! I think this we've probably been pining this for
but now it's
25 years.
It's going to be a 3-day weekend on the division round because of the extra week.
I like that. I definitely like a day off somewhere in the playoffs. I think that has been a long time coming. All right, for the challenge this week. I love my challenges. This week, hypothetical road trip you are driving across the country, Omar, from Florida to California. You have to choose one of these people to drive in the car with. Here are your choices, and I want to hear why. Would you like to drive across the country with A, Antonio Brown, B, Joe Buck, or C, Patrick Mahomes' little brother, Jackson Mahomes, the Instagram star?
Oh my God.
You have to choose one. Who are you driving across the country with?
And I have to get him from point A to point B.
Yes, this is...
I couldn't, if I take off from Jacksonville, I just can't stop somewhere in Alabama and, drop one of them off.
No, you have to, you're going across the country. Therefore, you have to choose who you want to take because you have to complete this trip.
Okay, take out Mahomes.
You don't want to drive with Jackson Mahomes.
I'm not getting in the car with him.
Why not?
Something just tells me things would go bad. You know what I mean? He strikes me as one of those guys that we'd stop to eat, and I go to the restroom and say, "Hey, I took care of the bill already. Let's just go." And then the staff's chasing us
right, he lies about you're actually dashing on it. Yep, I could definitely see that.
I would have paid for this.
Jackson, it was $11. We could have paid for this. Yeah, and then he's in the passenger seat just laughing his head off over it.
I think that Joe Buck would be too smug of a guy that I'd want to talk and he'd find nothing I'd say interesting.
Yeah.
And he just want to tell his stories. And I think that'd get me angry. I would say Antonio Brown because something tells me he would not care anything about me and he would just be on his phone texting. So I'll just be listening to music.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. That would be best case scenario.
Yeah.
I could see Joe Buck being really particular too on the road trip, checking the mileage, asking when you're going to stop, needing to go to the bathroom. And you're all right.
I'm trying to rush out, and he'll take an hour and a half phone call in the parking lot. You know what I mean?
Right. Walking around the parking lot, chatting, and you're like, come on, let's go. Or you're all right, let's go.
It'd be 5 more minutes, when he's just, telling me to screw off.
Yep. And then you'll be like, all right, we got to get some food. You're like, okay, there's Subway. And then he would be like, Subway?
Yeah.
I don't want to eat And you'd be like, come on, it's fine. Yeah, and he would pine over every little decision. I could see that. Antonio Brown, I could see actually being good or horrible. It could be he fell asleep for 2 weeks. He didn't even do anything. He just slept in the car. Or it could be the devil. Yeah. In there, he could be sticking his head out the window, doing the horn thing to trucks, he'd see one truck do it, and then he can't stop doing it.
No, I could see him. I could see him as soon as he's getting in the car. I'd say, "Hi, my name's Omar," and I think he'd tell me, "Shut the fuck up," and I'd be like, "Cool," and I'd be quiet for the rest of the trip.
Would you take that opportunity to essentially sell yourself as a potential future client?
Maybe.
Would you say like, this is what I do?
I would take a lot of business calls in front of him.
Yeah, good idea.
So he sees that I'm hustling. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be Antonio Brown.
He would say like, hold on, let me take this call from a client. And he'd be like, client? What you talking about? He's like, I'm working really hard, AKA hustling.
I'd go with Antonio Brown.
Yeah. I'm trying to, I could see that could be good or could be horrendous. Like all of a sudden he's riding in the car without a shirt on. Right. And he says like, hey, Omar, you into guns? And you'd be like, what? What are you talking about? And he would say, check this out. And you'd be like, oh my God, Antonio Brown has a gun in my car. I could see that happening too.
I could see like speeding down I-10, and then like from the distance, I see like a high school, like a school bus of female, high school cheerleaders.
Yes.
And like I'd start slowing down, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I'm not passing that bus with you.
Very smart. You see the problem down the road.
Yeah.
Like, hold on. You know what? I might make the argument for Joe Buck. I think Joe Buck is so insecure that at some point he will be trying to impress me during this. So I'm going to say like, hey, Joe Buck, I'm going to eat this Big Mac. Why don't you call it like I'm like this is the Super Bowl? Call my Big Mac eating. And then he would do it. He'd be like, well, he's opening the wrapper. He's got 2 patties there. Oh, he got extra mayo. Like, it would be fun. You could get Joe Buck to do stuff for you.
How do you think he would take it if you were to say, hey, Joe, how is it working with Troy Aikman? And you just
I think he would talk.
You just want to talk about Troy Aikman for the entire trip.
Oh, yes. I think he would. I think because he wants your approval. I think he would be willing to like tell you stories. He wants to talk. So you just tell him to do something and he'll do it. So I think there's an argument for Joe Buck being the cross-country trip. I'm with you though. Jackson Mahomes, Instagram king, would be annoying probably within 2 hours. It would be too much posing for pictures, too much live chatting. He wouldn't have a seatbelt on. He'd be jumping around the car. It would be so annoying. Yeah. Music, he'd have to have his music. I couldn't make it.
He'd slap a police officer. You know what I mean? It's just, it wouldn't go well.
Right. He'd want to tweet and send out photos. We wouldn't make it out of the state without just pulling my own hair out for Jackson Mahomes. So, Antonio Brown, Joe Buck, Jackson Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes' little brother for the cross-country road trip. I think we aced it. Now, since we don't have a prediction. Oh, sorry. I skipped the awards. Sunday MVP. I got 3 nominees. Matt Nagy keeps his job.
Not happening.
The month Kyler Murray essentially took off from playing. All of a sudden, he's in great shape. And Al Michaels making the call of the year to skip the Green Bay 10-degree weather.
I want to go with Kyler as the MVP because I think he's reloaded, recharged for a playoff run. Go Kyler.
Charged up. We talked about it. The NFL should have a spring break. Kyler Murray essentially took a month off, and he looked good against Dallas. So, Kyler Murray, Sunday MVP.
Yeah, I like it.
Way too early coach of the year. You went with, who did you go? Cincinnati, Zach Taylor?
Zach Taylor.
I'm going to go our very own Edward James almost lookalike Las Vegas Raiders head coach, Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
He could. He has an argument. I agree. Even though he has an abbreviated season, it could work out for him.
Yeah, give it to him. Why not? You know, the other thing that's fun about this last week of the NFL is I think the MVP is still up for grabs. Whoever plays good this week gets the MVP. So Let's see if Rodgers has it wrapped up or not. Let's see if somebody just doesn't have a crazy good stat game and steals it. Like say Stafford just goes nuts and steals the MVP. So the MVP's up for grabs in my mind. It's not Rodgers to take because they got to vote on it. And if there's any reason to not vote for Rodgers, they're going to find it.
I'll agree with that.
So it's up for grabs. Way too early coach of the year. I went Rich Bisaccia. You went Zach Taylor of the Cincinnati Bengals. Brings us to The last category, legal ramifications, with the one and only Omar Carmona. Omar Carmona, your question this week. What high-profile case in history would you have liked to have been a part of? Say there was a case like OJ or Scott Peterson.
It's OJ.
You wanted to be on the dream team of OJ?
I want to see all the nonsense that was going on during those days. Yeah.
Really? You would have liked to have been like a assistant counsel or something, doing research, running down leads.
Let me tell you how much, this is a short one, because let me tell you how much OJ fascinates me. That guy took to Twitter and said that AB's behavior yesterday was inexcusable.
Let me let that soak in.
The guy that chopped two people's heads off said that AB...
Oh, no.
I mean, that's fascinating. You can't make that up. OJ, all day. That's an easy question.
You know it's bad when OJ Simpson tells you, hey, you got to calm down.
Hey, man, you're out of line.
You went too far. There should really be a book that says things OJ should never say. And it's just lines like that. Like, hey, quiet down. Hey, everybody get along.
Yeah.
And you would read it and you'd be like, this would be hilarious if OJ said that. It's so no-brainer. You want to be on OJ. Is there a close second? Any second place?
It's OJ all day.
No, not even a second thought. No one else. No other
no
case
one
in
else.
history.
It's O.J. Simpson.
No Rosenbergs. No Scott Peterson. No Jody Arias. No Michael Jackson. Just straight O.J.
Boring. Give me O.J.
You want to be on O.J. I didn't see that coming. I really got to throw these questions at you before we record this.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have a Monday night game to predict because it's Monday night now. But what we can predict is the Sunday night game next week. The biggest game of the year, Sunday Night Football. They flexed it. They put it on Sunday night. Hopefully Al Michaels goes to this game. Chargers at Raiders for a playoff spot in the AFC.
I know I tried to make you mad. I really do think the Raiders, after everything they've overcome, I'm gonna go with Raiders 27. Chargers 21.
Okay, hold on. Let's lock it in because we'll be able to see how our predictions work next week when we record after the game. Okay, give it to me again. You're saying Vegas
27-21
over the Chargers. Okay. Vegas is giving the Chargers 3 points on this one.
Yeah.
Or the Chargers are favored by 3 points on the road. So makes me a little nervous. But, of course, I'm going to stick with my home team. But I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. Chargers have already hit their peak. Yep. Raiders are peaking. We have the future coach of the year, Edward James Olmos. We have Daniel Stern from Home Alone as our quarterback. We have the no celebration, Hunter Renfrow. We might have Waller back. We might have our tight end back. We might have him back. So, I'm going to go Raiders 28, Chargers 17.
Okay.
Let me lock it in.
Lock that one in. That's a good one.
All right. And then we're going to get to see how these predictions pan out because we're going to record right after the game for our usual Sunday night. We will know who is in the playoffs. We will know who is out. We will know the schedule as well, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So, big last week of the season. So
it's going to be huge.
Do you think in some weird alternate universe, Antonio Brown walks back on the field for the Tampa Bay game with his shirt off?
I'm pretty sure that ship has sailed. So no.
What about to get him pumped up,
Lock that one in. That's a no.
All right, that's a no. Omar says no. I just want to throw it out there. All right, for the Sunday Night Talk, recording it on a Monday night, Week 18 coming up. Omar, see you next week.
Later, buddy.
Okay, that is it, everybody. That is the show. That is the Sunday Night Talk on a very special Monday night. How about that? Omar shot out of a cannon as usual. Legal ramifications, A+. Opening Antonio Brown walk-off defense, A+. Zach Taylor, Coach of the Year prediction? We're going to have to wait and see on that one. We're going to have to wait and see on pretty much all my predictions too. Are you psyched for Week 18, the final week in the NFL? Do you agree with me that this is the best week of the NFL? Well, we have a lot to find out. Playoffs, coaches, who's going to get fired? Somebody's getting fired. There's no doubt about that. Who's in, who's out, and who would you take a hypothetical road trip across the country with? Antonio Brown, Joe Buck, or Patrick Mahomes' little brother, Jackson Mahomes, Instagram star? Hey, think about it. Tell me. I want to know. So, for myself, Patrick Ramirez, and Omar Carmona, Sunday Night Talk, Week 17. There you go, and we'll see you next week.